One incident, one headline, one life lost can ignite a firestorm that sets the entire culture ablaze.
17-year-old accused of stabbing and killing another teenager at a track meet in Frisco ISD in the Dallas area is out of jail this morning, and his bond has been significantly lowered. He claims he stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf as a form of self-defense. Senior legal analyst Chris stuck around this morning to weigh in on this one. Welcome, and thanks for being here. What is your thought when you hear something like this, that his bond was lowered?
Well, it was probably the right thing to do. Under Texas law, the judge looks at several factors, the prior criminal history of the defendant, his ties to the community and things like that. And when the judge looked at those factors in this case, they all weighed in favor of reducing the bond from $1 million. And the defense asked for $150,000. The judge reduced it to $250,000, put an ankle monitor on, and put him on home confinement. And he has to call in and talk to the bailiff in the courtroom every Friday.
And we heard from his family, and they kept repeatedly saying, look, we have ties to Frisco. He's not a flight risk, or he's never done anything wrong before and been in trouble with the law. Did that play and bear part of it?
All of that, and all of that ties directly to the factors laid out in the Code of Criminal Procedure and case law that says these are the things that the judge looks at in determining what the amount of bond should be. Bond, under the 8th Amendment, bond cannot be used as an instrument of oppression. In other words, we can't make it so high that the defendant can never get out of jail.
One thing that's come out of all of this is we found out in the very beginning that Anthony asked officers, can I be in trouble because I feel like this was self-defense? And he asked them, could this be self-defense? What do we know about this? We understand it was a seating issue, a misunderstanding. What have you found?
So he's at a high school track meet, and at a high school track meet, every high school sets up a tent, and their players sit under their tent during the meet, so they're not just sitting out in the sun. Anthony was in another high school's tent, sitting under the tent, and then the victim came in and said, you need to get out of our tent. And Anthony said, put your hands on me and see what happens. And the kid grabbed him to put him out of the tent, and he produced a knife out of his backpack and stabbed him. And so I think that the defense is going to be that when he grabbed him, he had a right at that point to defend himself. Under self-defense, if you feel that your life is in danger or you're about to be hurt, you have the right to use defense, including deadly force, to defend yourself. Question is going to be what amount of force was necessary at that time to defend himself.
Now, is that where the stand your ground law applies?
Correct. In understand your ground, you have the right to stay right where you are and defend yourself if certain factors are in play. Did you have a legal right to be where you were, and were you in fear of your life?
What about having a weapon on school grounds? That seems to be a problem. Usually at most schools, I don't know, there are all kinds of notifications that you can't have anything, but usually I think it says firearms, not necessarily a knife.
Well, I don't know that a knife was allowed at that time where he was. I don't know that that's going to be necessarily a defeating factor with respect to self-defense. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, Chris, thanks for sticking around and just explain the law and all this plays.
Recently, a tragic event unfolded at a Texas high school track meet, leading to the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf and the arrest of fellow student Karmelo Anthony. The incident has sparked intense debates and heightened racial tensions across the nation. Anthony claimed he acted in self-defense after Metcalf allegedly grabbed him during an argument and approached him. He was recently released on reduced bail of $250,000 and is now on house arrest awaiting trial. While Anthony has been branded a thug, white-hating, ruthless criminal and murderer, his previous history shows no violent history. Karmelo is a student and captain of his track team and the captain of his football team. Austin Metcalf was also beloved and worked as a linebacker. Austin Metcalf's father has since come out and tried to diffuse misinformation or racial tensions.
I want to clarify something right off the start because I've already heard some rumors and gossip. This was not a race thing. This is not a political thing. Please do not comment if you do not know what happened. Do not turn this into a racial thing. It was not. Do not politicize this. It's not. This is a human being thing. This person made a bad choice and it affected both his family and my family forever.
The case has garnered national attention, with supporters on both sides raising substantial funds for legal fees and memorials. Anthony's families have reported receiving threats, prompting them to seek enhanced security measures and move him to a gated community. In the past, organizations such as the NAACP and BLM were here to stand in defense of. In the past, organizations such as NAACP and BLM were allegedly here to stand in defense of Black people who were being mistreated. In 2013, the Black Lives Matter movement emerged in response to the acquittal of George Zimmerman and the shooting death of Trayvon Martin. BLM sought to combat systematic racism and affirm the value of Black lives in society. It aimed to address police brutality, promote community investment, combat systematic racism, and support marginalized groups within the Black community. BLM gained national prominence following the deaths of Michael Brown and Eric Garner in 2014, and later George Floyd in 2020. The movement has organized protests and advocated for policy reforms to address racial injustices. However, the movement has since lost support after reports of embezzlement and mismanagement of funds were found among key leaders in the BLM space. Many people in the Black community now feel that it was a scam, others feeling that the whole purpose of the organization was to use Black male death to make money for key players. Nevertheless, due to the popularity of BLM, in 2015, the phrase White Lives Matter emerged as a counter slogan to BLM, but became often associated with white supremacist groups. Organizations like the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center have designated WLM as a hate movement. WLM proponents claim to advocate for white interests, but critics argue that the movement seeks to undermine efforts toward racial equity and justice. Incidents like the one involving Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf often become flashpoints in broader cultural conflicts. They are not just isolated events, but are interpreted through the lenses of existing societal tensions. These events can polarize communities, with individuals aligning themselves along ideological lines that often influenced by movements like BLM and WLM. While it's essential to seek justice and accountability, it's equally important to approach such incidents with logic and real facts, along with empathy and commitment to understanding the broader context, instead of just jumping to false conclusions that are promoted online to spew propaganda. It's important to create spaces that strive for mutual respect and acknowledge the value of human life. What do y'all think about this whole situation? Let me know down in the comment section, and thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.